Hi everyone, in this video, I'm going to be explaining how to create a scrolling platformer. Only a small percentage of you are actually subscribed, so please click that subscribe button an odd number of times as well as the bell icon. So what is a scrolling platformer? It's basically a normal platformer, except that instead of the player moving, the level moves, which means that the level can be a lot larger than one screen big. The biggest challenge in creating a scrolling platformer is making the level update when the keys are pressed, because the character needs to be constantly checking the level and the information of whether the character is touching the level and how, which needs to be transferred to the level, which then has to move with an almost imperceptible delay. Obviously coding this can be quite challenging, so I'm going to explain what I did step by step to make a working scrolling platformer. The first idea is the bare bones of a scrolling platformer. The platformer script I'm using here is a very efficient platforming script that was created by DJ Pro. It's contained within one script, which makes it a lot easier to convert to use scrolling. So how this first iteration of a scrolling platformer works is that the platforming script is contained within the level itself, which is then made larger by use of a size hack. The reason why I didn't stop at this stage is because it's extremely difficult to implement coins and other items. And the only way to create spikes and lava to kill the player would be to use the gross touching color blocks and a separate sprite. The next idea is a little harder. Basically, the player contains a platforming script which has the change X and Y blocks replaced by changing two variables, which then update the level. When you run this project, it's pretty easy to see that it doesn't work. The reason for this is that most of the platforming script counts on the player being able to move and then instantly check if it's touching the level. Once the player hits the level, the whole mechanic basically breaks. This brings us to my last and most successful platforming script. In reality, it's actually a bunch of scripts that work in tandem, using the broadcast blocks. Before this, I tried using broadcast blocks in the platforming script to make it work without as many alterations, but it didn't work. This script basically updates the player every time it moves, eliminating the problem of not being able to check if the player is touching the level. The only downside to this method is that it uses loads of clones, which limits the size of the level, because of Scratch's 300 clone limit. To begin coding the platforming scripts, remix the empty project, link in the description, which contains the basic platforming script. The first thing we want to do is to break up the platforming script into several sections. You can follow the video here, or you can pause the video when I show the scripts and do it yourself. Next, we need to create two sets of messages for the broadcast blocks. Name them 01 to 09 and set 01 to set 09. Place the when I receive blocks for 01 to 09 at the start of each script in order and broadcast set 01 to set 09 at the end of each script in order. At this point we can also create a hitbox for our character. Draw a rectangle in the Costumes tab. Now, we need to create two variables called scrollX and scrollY. Replace all changeX and Y blocks with change scrollX and scrollY blocks. Preserve the values of the blocks as far as possible, meaning that if it says change Y by -5, the new block should say change scrollY by -5. If you have Scratch add-ons, you can hold the Command key for Mac or Control key for Windows to drag a single block instead of the whole stack. Okay, the hard part is over. Now what we need to do is create a level sprite and costume. Just draw a rectangle under the center of the costume like this. It's important that you draw it under because the center is where the player will start out, and if you draw something in the center the player will get trapped. Now we need to make a custom block. Make two variables for this sprite only, called level X and level Y, and a custom block called position sprite, without screen refresh. Place a go to block under the define block and fill the X and Y inputs with level X minus scroll X and level Y minus scroll Y. Make 9 copies of this script, and set the tops to when I receive set 01 to set 09 and the bottoms to broadcast 02 to 01, with the top number being 1 less than the bottom number. When we get to when I receive set 09, the bottom should be broadcast 01. Make this script. After this, we need to make a few final adjustments. Drag a broadcast 01 under the when green flag clicked script in the player sprite. Replace all the touching color blocks with touching level blocks, and set scroll X and Y to 0. Now we can finally test this out. If you've got to this stage, well done for following so well and tolerating this stupid monotonous voice. You can also design the level costumes to make sure that the platforming scripts are working properly. Stay tuned for the next part of the tutorial, or, you could just click the bell icon, I guess. I'm not going to force you to subscribe, but you should ask yourself whether you like the video and whether it helped you. Thank you for watching.